This is CPP 2, Take 4. This is William Castillo, and I'm going to be going over the ethical dilemmas and ethical theories that two of my favorite superheroes go through in some of their more extreme adventures. The two superheroes I'm going to be covering are my two personal favorites of Batman and The Flash. The reason I picked these two is because Batman is human. He has limits, which puts him in an ethical dilemma on a constant basis of what he should do. Superman is a god, pretty much. He can save everyone. He's all-powerful. So he doesn't really run into these issues as much. The other character I'm covering is the Flash, and more specifically, Barry Allen Flash. If you're unfamiliar with the Flash comic books or the history of it, there's been several, so I need to specify. Barry Allen's history is kind of odd in the sense of his mother is murdered before his eyes by another speedster, another person who can travel faster than time, and that person goes back in time and kills his mother. Now, Barry has the same power, so what does he do? I'm going to start off this discussion with Batman, and then I'll move on to the Flash afterwards. First thing I want to cover with Batman is he a deontologist? As in, does he hold himself to a moral code? Because he conducts himself by that moral code, does that mean what he's doing is right? And although he doesn't hold himself to the social contract, which is the cops deal with criminals and stuff like that, he believes he's kind of above it, which puts his moral code above what's going on around him. He goes in and beats up the bad guys instead of calling the police officers, which is what normal people would do. If you looked at the Christopher Nolan Batman movies that came out a while ago with Christian Bale, Liam Neeson, Heath Ledger, and Tom Hardy, I believe, that series, if you look into those, you do see the problem that society has with Batman. That one's rooted very much so in realism. And the social contract is breached by Batman, but his moral code keeps him above it. Now, what goes into his moral code? Well, most people are aware of Batman's one rule. Don't kill, regardless of who it is. Because crossing that line may put him in a place he doesn't want to be. Well, is that right? Now, I'm not going to talk about all his many villains. I'm going to talk about his very specific one that we all know and love. The Joker. Now, regardless of whoever you take into this matter, be it Heath Ledger, Jared Leto as of recently, or Jack Nicholson, he constantly comes down to, if I kill him now, he can never harm people again. There's a vicious cycle of Batman capturing the Joker, and then after capturing the Joker, he gets out, kills more people, and like shampoo, rinse, wash, repeat. Goes over and over and over again. This leads to quite a few issues in Batman's history. The first one being the storyline of Death in the Family, which is a very good read, where the Joker murders Jason Todd, also known as Robin. More specifically, the second Robin. Now, Batman regrets it, goes into that, but there's a two-part to the story called Under the Red Hood, and I think it's on Netflix if you want to watch it, where Jason Todd comes back to life. How is not important. But what is that he's mad at Batman for not killing the Joker. Ever since that day, the Joker's killed more people. He's not asking him to kill Dr. Freeze or any of the lowlifes, but just the main one. But Batman holds himself to that. Is he right in that aspect? So that's kind of on you to decide. But Jason Todd holds Batman accountable for his death and for everyone else's. Interesting thought process on that. The other one I want to go through is he a utilitarian? As in, do the means justify the end? Now, aside from Batman's one rule, to him it does. The means justify the end. Typically it means self-harm on himself. He doesn't care what he goes through. He doesn't care whether he dies. It's that he will bear the burden and that the cost is always worth it. You can very much so look at this in the aspects of the Court of Owls, which is a fun one to read, where Batman pretty much he dies, and he is okay with it because he saved Gotham from the Court of Owls. It's a really fun one to dig into, and I really recommend it. That cost is always worth it to him. Now, it's not worth it if it's costing someone in the family their pain or suffering. And to that, I actually want to show you one of my personal favorite stories. And if you enjoy the ethical dilemmas and everything that you study about, I really recommend you pick up this book. And it is Alan Moore's Batman: The Killing Joke. Now, I'm not going to go into spoilers with this here if you actually do want to pick it up, but Batman's one rule is put to the test. And it is truly an awesome story in which he must decide whether he will be a utilitarian or stick to his deontology ideals of his moral code. Now I want to step into the Flash. So 1 second. Did that as quick as I could. Hopefully I'm as quick as him. Now the Flash, another one of my personal favorite superheroes. He has powers. He's fastest man alive, even though he's kind of proven wrong on multiple occasions by his villains. In this, Barry Allen witnesses as a child his mother being killed in a bolt of lightning, as he describes it. And in that bolt of lightning, he sees two people running. One of them's wearing a red suit, one of them's wearing a yellow suit. Little does he know that the one in the red suit is actually him from the future coming back to save his mother. The one in the yellow suit, the Reverse Flash, Eobard Thawne, or many other people who've taken up that name, are trying to kill his mother. Now, the events of that night are the catalyst for him becoming a forensic scientist, which puts him in a particular location which after a bolt of lightning strikes him and chemicals cover him, the abilities of the Flash. That's a brief history on him, just so you understand how this storyline works. Well, fast forward a couple decades, he's probably in his mid-20s-ish, maybe 30s, and he has full control of his Flash powers. He is running around saving Central City left and right. But what gets to him is that he could never save his mom. He wasn't fast enough. Now, mind you, he doesn't know he goes back in time and saves his mom. One day, he literally just decides to do it. And that is where the storyline of Flashpoint Paradox comes in. And this is the absolute epitome of subjectivism versus utilitarianism. Now, let me explain this. In Flashpoint Paradox, this is also on Netflix. I don't have the DVD or anything, but check it out. He goes back in time to save his mother. In that, there's a ripple effect through time, which changes everything. In this storyline, Bruce Wayne is killed in the alleyway, and his parents survive. His father becomes Batman, and his mother becomes the Joker. In this, Aquaman and Wonder Woman never become superheroes. They actually go to war with each other. Atlantis versus Themyscira, the Amazons. And World War III kicks off, which will probably end the world. You don't really find out reading through the comics, and I'm not going to give you any spoilers, but there's a pretty good possibility. So when Barry returns to the present time from when he ran to go save his mother, and now he's back, but it's an alternate world, he finds all this out. There's a third world war going on, but his mom's alive. And he doesn't have his Flash powers to fix it. So what does he do? Long story short, he does go and get his Flash powers back, but what happens from there, I'm going to leave it up whether you want to watch the movie or not. Actually, The Flash Season 3 on the CW is doing something similar, but it's not identical. But is it morally right for him to go back in time and save his mother? A subjectivist would say yes. What is best for you is what is morally right, regardless of what happens to your neighbor. In this sense, it's World War III between superpowered beings. The utilitarian is, God no, it's your mom. Leave her be. It sucks. The world will end. One versus many. It's essentially, it's the it's a really good dilemma. I can't think of another example, but Barry has to choose to do what is right, and that's up to him. So I just want to say thanks for watching my video. And this class has actually really opened my eyes up to a lot of other comic book characters and the ethical dilemmas they go through. So the more that we go through the class, I guarantee I'm going to find more material, and I hope you enjoyed this as well. So maybe you can go back and watch some of the movies and maybe some of the ones I suggested and see exactly what I'm talking about. It is fun to see how superheroes, fictional characters who don't actually exist, deal with these dilemmas and what comes out of the writer's mind to help them deal with it. So thank you very much. Have a good day.